Very, very good morning. Yesterday, Council Cabinet meeting. I'm not quite sure why the Cabinet meeting is after the last Council meeting of the year, last full Council meeting of the year. The sequence should be the committees meet, the Cabinet meet, and then all of it goes back to the full Council, because that's the sequence of how local democracy is meant to work. But unfortunately, it's not how it works in Oldham, because nothing works the way it should do in Oldham. The Council meeting, the Cabinet meeting yesterday, was really one big item, and that item was the signing off of the £1 million grant. They call it an investment grant to Oldham Athletic Football Club. And of course, the person responsible for the finances in Oldham is the Deputy Chief Executive, who is in charge of finances. His name is ABDUL JABBAR. He's been in charge of the millions for a long, long time, a decade at least. ABDUL JABBAR failed to show for last night's Cabinet meeting. That's right, ABDUL JABBAR failed to show for the meeting where £1 million was gifted to Oldham Athletic. Now, I know some of you have been looking for the Conservative statement. You're not going to get the Conservative statement any more than you're going to get the Lib Dem statement or even any of the Independent statement. I have spoken to a range of politicians from across political parties, and also friends of mine who offer me advice and guidance on politics, because I am not a politician. And I have been told, Raja, it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea you speaking out about how £1 million has been gifted to Oldham Athletic the day before PURDAH. That's when the election rules kick in, and kept silent at the council meeting 48 hours earlier. That's right. The council knew, didn't say anything at the full council meeting, and it was sneaked through after the full council meeting, and it's not in my interests. It's not in my political interests. Well, I don't really have political interests. I will stand against James Ignatius or Ruck McMahon. I will stand on an anti-corruption, anti-cartel, anti-child rape gang platform. And if I get one vote and it's just my, well, I can't vote him, I don't live in Oldham, but if I just get one vote and it's my mum voting for me, that will be enough for me. I find it completely abhorrent that so many people have objected to the secret funding of mosques, the sale of community centres and swimming baths in the lead up to elections, where they were clearly bribes. They were clearly bribes, and yet here they refuse to say anything about the gifting of £1 million to a private business whilst children in our communities starve. And the starving is not from me, it's from Amanda Chaddderton, it's from ABDUL JABBAR, it's from all of those who are saying, you know, we can't even afford to feed our own children, but we can suddenly find £1 million the day before PURDAH to hand over to a private business. And speaking out against that private, actually I'm not speaking out against Oldham Athletic at all. I don't blame what they've done. I don't blame Frank Rohwell for grasping the opportunity as a shrewd businessman. What I find abhorrent is what I look at, and I can see this in no other way than it is a bribe. A bribe to try and win over the white working class vote and shore up the Labour Party vote in areas such as Royton South, where Amanda Chaddderton and both the Bashforths are up for re-election, in Royton North, where Clint Piffian is up for re-election, in St James's, where, you know, historical rugby sort of area, and up to Waterhead. I think there's a band of 4 wards there where the Labour Party are desperate to keep the white councillors in, and they believe that this deal, this grant, will be enough positive PR. I would like to think after 4 years of this, I would like to think after 4 years and more of this, that the people of my town care more for the screams of little girls than for paying for blades of hybrid grass. Not glass, grass. But we shall see. It's clear the Lib Dems won't say anything. It's clear the Conservatives won't say anything. And it's also clear the Independents won't say anything. And it's because they're too scared of losing votes. Well, seeing as though I have no votes to lose, I'm happy to call it for what it is. Let's bring on the computer. Let's bring on the iPad. I think should have improved the sound. I've gone and bought some wires. So we'll see what comes of that. And let's get this played.
Okay, should we make a start then? Okay. Item 1, apologies for absence. We've had apologies from Councillor Jabbar. Is there anybody else? No? I understand Councillor Akhtar is on his way, but he's stuck in traffic at the moment. Okay.
Okay, the first thing, you can see there clearly, apologies from Councillor Jabbar, and Councillor Akhtar is stuck in traffic. Come on, lads, I thought you were on your bicycles. Is that not what you do? Catch your bicycles to the Civic Centre. He lives in Coppice. You could walk from Coppice. Come on, Shoaib. You could walk from Coppice. Stuck in traffic, my arse. These people don't want to be associated with what's going on in case it comes back to bite them on the bum. That's my analysis of it. The Councillor Jabbar apologising. And also, this council meeting, this cabinet meeting was moved to 4 o'clock. So members of the public cannot attend. Because most members, well, we'd be at work, wouldn't you? I'll pause it at key points, but let's work our way through. It's only 20 minutes long, 15 minutes long. These things don't last long, these cabinet meetings, and we'll see where we end up.
Item 2 is urgent business, so I haven't been notified of any items of urgent business. Item 3, declarations of interest. Does any member have an interest to declare in any matter on the agenda? No? Okay. Item 4, public question times. We've received no public questions. Item 5, minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on the 27th February 2023. Does Cabinet agree the minutes of the Cabinet meeting held on 27th February 2023? Thank you. Item 6, Revenue Monitor and Capital Investment Programme 2022 to 23, Quarter 3 to December 22. In Councillor Jabbar's absence, I will move the report. Does any member wish to speak? No? Does Cabinet agree the recommendations are set out in the report? Thank you. Item 7, Low Taxation and Benefits Discretionary Policies 23-24. In Councillor Jabbar's absence, I will move the report. There's going to be a theme of this afternoon. Does any member wish to speak? No? Okay. Does Cabinet agree the recommendations as set out in the report? Thank you. Item 8, Section 75 and Integration Agreement Arrangements. I've been notified that this report has been withdrawn from the agenda. Okay. Item 9, Enhancement of Community Sports Pitches, which is a joint report of myself, Councillor Jabbar and Councillor Taylor. So, this follows news last week where the council announced that we're able to facilitate the coming together of Oldham Rugby and Oldham Football clubs in Oldham. Both Oldham Athletic and the Roughyheads have a really strong history and a vast support throughout the town of Oldham. By investing in a new pitch at Boundary Park, the council is helping both clubs fulfil a shared ambition of playing their home games at Boundary Park from the 2024 season. Obviously, we'll all know for quite some time it's been a moot point when the Roughyheads moved down to Hollingwood from its traditional home in East Oldham. This will allow us to bring the Roughyheads back to the closer centre of Oldham and back to a lot of their support. Now, I was down at Boundary Park last week with Harry as the Chief Executive and with Councillor Jabbar, where we met Frank Rothwell and Darren Royal from Oldham Athletic and also Chris Hamilton from Roughyheads. I think it's fair to say that everybody was really excited about what it means for both clubs and also about how it can start to unlock greater community investment into Boundary Park and wider.
Okay. Both the Roughyheads owner and Frank Rothwell, the Oldham Athletic Football Club owner, were really excited. I'm sure they would be really excited with £1 million being handed over as a gift for a hybrid grass pitch days before an election. Unlock community investment. Unlock community investment. What is the community investment? What is the benefits for the community? Will we get to use the pitch for free? Will there be discounted access for children? Subsidised access? I mean, it's wrong, isn't it? It's wrong on every level. This is just desperate electioneering. Desperate electioneering. And it's a really, really bad signal out that they have £1 million that they don't even go through the right process. They didn't even announce it at the full council meeting so they could avoid scrutiny. Not that the opposition has the courage to scrutinise this. You'd be outraged if there were funding prayer mats in mosques across this town. Rightly. Right is right, wrong is wrong, and this is wrong.
The Rothwell family and Darren Royal have huge ambitions and huge plans for the future of the club, and we hope that this can kickstart some of those plans and create jobs and opportunities for Oldhamers in the process.
Jobs and opportunities for Oldhamers in the process.
Is firmly committed to building a better Oldham, and this investment is another demonstration of this. I think that it's been received really positively within the town, understandably.
Received really positively in the town in the lead up to an election. Received really positively in the town. Which parts of the town? Could it be the parts where the white Labour Party politicians are at risk? Amanda? Could it be Royton South? Royton North? St James and Waterhead? Is that the areas of the town where it's been received really positively? And for those of you who've contacted me and say, well, isn't it time that the white people got something because the Asians have had everything all this time? No. This isn't about the white people getting anything or the Asians getting anything beforehand. This is about electioneering. It is about the failure. It's about bribery, isn't it? It's buying votes. This is about buying votes. And if you can't see it on this, and if you won't stand up for it on this, then what? It proves you can be bought. Yeah, it proves you can be bought. For a blade of grass. You can be bought for a blade of grass whilst your children are gang raped. And this woman and her team claims we can't say it didn't destroy their lives. Outrageous.
So, and I was really pleased last week to be able to announce it, and I think, you know, securing the future of Oldham rugby is absolutely huge, but also allowing and hopefully unlocking some of that ambition for Boundary Park that the Rothwells have is really a significant step forward in that. Councillor Taylor?
Okay, so she admits it there. She admits it there. Hopefully unlocking, hopefully, £1 million given out on a plan written on the back of a flat cap where she is hopeful it will unlock the ambition that they have for Boundary Park, the Rothwells have for Boundary Park. So what is the ambition that the Rothwells have for Boundary Park, and who is going to pay for the ambition of Boundary Park when Frank can't even, well, it doesn't seem he can even afford to pay to upgrade the grass? And the council, who 2 weeks ago claimed that they empty bins and cut their grass and that's what their job is, has given over £1 million of your money. to a private business without any assurances. There's a reason, I think, why Abdul Jabbar is not sat next to Amanda Chadderton. How do you think Abdul Jabbar is going to square this in his own community in Coldhurst? Where in the middle of Coldhurst, there is a playing field called Grange Playing Fields. I played on it as a child. That is in a complete mess and has been in a complete mess for a decade. Thousands of children in your community, Councillor Jabbar. Why could you not secure some money to refurbish those playing fields? There's no playing fields anywhere else near in that ward. Yet here we have. And it's the same argument in St James's, the same argument in parts of Chadderton, same argument in Royton even. Same arguments across the entire town. I see this as nothing other than an outright bribe. She's hopeful that the £1 million will unlock the ambitions. What sort of language is that? Hopeful. I'll hand over £1 million of your money to someone who's hopeful. But this is where it gets comedy. And yes, she is still wearing the same scruffy green top.
Anything you'd like to add?
I think you've covered the most of it. I guess the part that I would add is that I've had numerous conversations and I think this has been an ambition for a long time of the club. And I think from a grassroots perspective, this has landed extremely well. And I think in terms...
What is the grassroots perspective? Grassroots means the youth clubs, the Sunday volunteers, the Saturday junior leagues. That's what grassroots is. What on earth is grassroots in this context? What is grassroots? What is grassroots in this context? Is misusing the word because this woman and her mates think you are all thick. This was not £1 million for grassroots sport. This was not £1 million invested in junior football clubs or rugby clubs. Why couldn't Frank Rohwell and whoever the Ruffyheads lad is raise their own £1 million for their grass? Of course, he gains financially, Gary. Oldham Athletic will take the receipts, or a significant proportion of the receipts of the ticket sales. I'd understand it if it was a loan. I'd understand it if part of it was a loan and part of it was a grant. But to grant all of this, is that what we're really up to? £1 million to ignore the screams of our children?
Of our ambition for the town and our pride for the town. I think this is a really positive news story, and I look forward to going to see games at the new stadium.
Okay. Yeah, the councillor, she looks forward to going to see games at the new stadium. I didn't realise we were funding a new stadium. Or is that a Freudian slip? Are we now funding a new stadium? Is Oldham Council now funding... I've gone into a secret deal to fund a new stadium. She said it. New stadium, not me. She said it, not me. A new stadium. Absolutely staggering. Absolutely staggering. It is Unbelievable. What they're doing here is unbelievable. And look at the complete silence elsewhere. They all know what they're doing. They all know what is going on here. Let's carry on with the council meeting, because there's other bits in this. There's other bits in this cabinet meeting I think is of value to you guys. But that's the Oldham Athletic stuff. £1 million handed over to a private business.
Thank you. Does any other member wish to speak? No? Does Cabinet agree the recommendations are set out in the report?
No one spoke. No one spoke.
Approval of grant funding agreement with Greater Manchester Combined Authority. So this report seeks approval to enter into an agreement with the GMCA to enable the continued delivery and expansion of 3 services dedicated to supporting residents at risk of homelessness or homeless Oldhamers over the next 2 years. The 3 services are a bed for every night, a community accommodation support tier 3 and the Rough Sleepers initiative. And for the continued delivery of these services, we need to enter into a grant agreement with GMCA. All 3 services, particularly a bed every night and the RSI, are embedded in Oldham and are vital to support the ongoing delivery of the GMCA's homelessness prevention and reduction strategy. Does any member wish to speak? No? Okay. Cabinet will...
Remember when Andy Burnham came in, his landmark policy, no one talks about it anymore, he was going to end homelessness. He was going to end rough sleeping like that. They're now taking millions of pounds off you through increasing the mayor's precept and recycling in onto his vanity schemes, a bed every night. And they are vanity schemes because there's no external evaluation to prove that they're in any way effective. And if you speak to the homeless charities across the region, they will tell you that since he's come along, he's actually made it worse. Because it wasn't solved just like this, was it? Maybe she is talking as a rugby fan when she says new stadium. But it's not a new stadium, is it? They've played there before. Have they not played somewhere else, Gary, where they had to leave? I'm sure it's in the MEN, there's an article where they owed £70,000 or £80,000 in ground rent to the council.
They don't agree this item at 18. Item 11, UK SPF grant acceptance, which is a joint report of myself and Councillor Jabbar. So the report seeks approval to accept almost £2.3 million in the UK Shared Prosperity Fund grant for 3 specific schemes in Oldham, as agreed for funding by the Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities. Of that, £1.2 million is for Accessible Oldham, to continue making Oldham Town Centre more accessible.
Accessible Oldham. Remember Jane Barker's Freedom of Information request where no equality impact assessments were done. So that's what that nonsense is. Yeah, they're just wasting £2.3 million of new government money. Accessible Oldham. They want to put some bicycle lanes in and all sorts of stuff like that. Yeah.
Around the Eastern Gateway and the new park, staff to maintain and improve the public realm infrastructure. £500,000 is to increase the uptake of active travel.
Active travel. That means you get on your bicycles, or as they're trying to sneak in, you have to pay to park your cars at work. They're trying to introduce a new tax where you will pay to park your cars at work.
A modal shift away from cars and increase access to northern routes.
And northern routes. Some more money for glamping in Glodick and skinny dipping in the Snipe.
A further £500,000 to support local arts, culture and heritage events, and this will include the co-design community-led events and satellite sessions for Oldham Theatre Workshop. This element will specifically seek to boost Oldham's cultural and nighttime offer to aid us in creating an Oldham Town Centre fit for the future, and one where people want to live, work and socialise. Does any member wish to speak? No? Cabinet will consider this report at item 19.
Again, you see, no one wanted to speak. This is meant to be the Cabinet. This is where all the decisions are made, And time after time, no one is speaking. No one is questioning. No one is speaking.
Item 12, Levelling Up Fund Grant Acceptance. This is myself and Councillor Jabbar's report. So this is another grant acceptance report, I think highlighting, particularly off the back of full council last week. It's good to reinforce this, how successful our team are in attracting external investment into Oldham, despite what some people claim. So this,
despite what some people claim, what she doesn't quite understand is what we object to, what the people of this town object to, is not the securing of grants or the inability to secure grants. What we object to is pimping out the poverty of this town repeatedly to secure grants. That's what we object to. For decades, all these policy officers have done is said, we are poor, give us more money, we are poor, give us more money. That is all they have done. And that is what people object to. And Amanda Chadderton seems to be lost on Amanda Chadderton at this point. And it's lost on Hannah Roberts in a moment as well. Because they judge success by how much money they bring in. Not why they've brought that money in, or not even what they end up doing with that money. Poverty pimping. That is what this Labour Party run council have excelled at. And the money they bring in is repeatedly to feather their own nests, because it makes no difference to your life or mine, does it? Thank you, Denise. White Banks Road Stadium. The Ruffians, they didn't pay all year.
Being asked to improve and accept £20 million from the Levelling Up Fund, round 2, following confirmation of the award from the Department for Levelling Up Housing and Communities. Just to remind everybody, we were only one of 3 authorities in Greater Manchester to be successful in the Levelling Up Fund round 2. So our successful bid was for green technology and our innovation network. The 3 projects that will fund are Jubilee Park and the Greenway Corridor. This will create a sustainable network through the town centre, and our new park to create a modal shift towards...
What on earth does that entire sentence even mean? I'm going to just play it back. What on earth does that entire sentence mean? Listen again.
Green technology and our innovation network. The 3 projects that will fund are Jubilee Park and the Greenway Corridor. This will create a sustainable network through the town centre, and our new park to create a modal shift towards active travel.
Sustainable travel through the town centre, modal whatever, active travel. What on earth does all of that mean?
Secondly, the Northern Roots Learning Centre, to create an education suite at Northern Roots to strengthen environmental skills with vocational courses. And thirdly, the Green Shoots Business Centre at Rhodes Bank, which is a new business incubation centre specifically for environmental technology startups.
Environmental technology startups. We can't even get a town square full of shops and stalls, and she's going on about environmental startups. What environmental startups are there in Oldham, Amanda Chadderton?
To be the greenest boroughs in Greater Manchester, and these projects will help us in that journey. Does any member wish to speak? Councillor Roberts.
Oh, here we go, Councillor Roberts.
Yeah, I'd just like to echo the remarks that you made at the beginning. I mean, it's clear from many items on this agenda just how successful we've been at attracting external funding, particularly funding for projects around the levelling up agenda. And I think this is a testament to the fact that we've had some very clear plans for the borough, that we know what we want to do. We've had projects that we want to...
I'm not sure if the councillor Hannah Roberts is suffering from dementia at this point. Apparently the council has clear plans for the town and it knows what it's doing. Last I looked, 20 years of failed regeneration scheme after failed regeneration scheme. One scheme failed, another scheme failed, another scheme failed. What are these clear plans and where are the successes, Hannah Roberts? in the town centre. Come on, where are they in the town? Where are your clear plans for the town? Are they not on the 4th or the 5th master plan? Are they not on the 4th or the 5th town centre master plan? Just before Christmas, they were saying Prince's Gate was on track. And now they want to build houses on it because they can't get anyone to build any shops on it. Clear plans. The Coliseum, they've planned a performance space that doesn't meet the requirements of a theatre. And they want to spend £27 million on it. Clear plans where they've hastily given £1 million to a football club that was on no one's books a month ago or 2 weeks ago at the last council meeting. What clear plans? Absolute gobbledygook. Revisionist nonsense.
To find funding for, which this has enabled us to do. And I think this is indeed a testament to the officers who've done the work, but also actually to the political vision that we have had in terms of the way forward for
the Labour Party, according to Councillor Hannah Roberts, who was kicked out of Royton for claiming that CSE, after she claimed that CSE was not an issue on the doorsteps of Royton. She was booted out of Royton. Ends up in Hollingwood via a by-election, and now talks about the clear vision her and her Labour Party colleagues have had for the town. I don't know if she drinks sherry or not. Maybe she's been on the sherry before the meeting started. I don't know. Absolute alternate reality. Absolute alternate reality.
Thank you, Councillor Roberts. Any other member wish to speak? No? Okay, well, thank you for that. Obviously, I wholly agree, Councillor Roberts. Irrespective of what colour the government of the day is, it's always pleasing to have the external validation into our plans within Oldham, and for us to be recognised that we have the ambition and the ability to deliver, and that national government are willing to fund that. This is for today, and that's notwithstanding the money that we identified for in last week's budget, as well as a new levelling up area. So really positive, and as I said last week, you know, over £137 million of external investment we've attracted into Oldham over the last 5 years. And that can't be said of every local authority, so we must be doing something right, and it's pleasing for others to see that as well. So Cabinet will consider this item, item 20. Item 13, acceptance of funding allocations for 22 to 23 for Oldham Lifelong Learning Service. Councillor Ali.
Thank you. So the report details the funding allocation for the Lifelong Learning Service from Greater Manchester Combined Authority for the academic year 2022/2023. The recommendations to Cabinet to accept the funding for the academic year 2022/2023. Lifelong Learning Service engages adults and provides skills and learning that they need to equip them for work and other learning activities. The service delivers a range of employability learning programs across all our districts in Oldham. I have visited our centres and met a number of learners and heard the testimonies in terms of the services, targeted work they do to deliver self-reliance, confidence.
He's just been given a script, hasn't he? This is the Cabinet meeting. This is where the main councillors in the town are meant to come together to discuss and debate the big issues. He's just been given a script to read that he hasn't even prepared properly to read it, which is why he's struggling. Those aren't his words. He's just been given a script to read, and I think it's very clear. I think it's very, very clear. So the question is, who runs this town? If this is the Cabinet, where the decisions are made, we have a Cabinet-style council, where 9 of these councillors sit around. This is the Cabinet.
To further further learning, training and employment for individuals. So this is a recommendation to Cabinet to accept the funding. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. Does any other member wish to speak? No? Does Cabinet agree the recommendations are set out in the report? Thank you. Item 14, Oldham Community Leisure Contract. Councillor Taylor.
Thank you. So, yes, this report is seeking permission to extend the term of the leisure management contract between Oldham Council and Oldham Community Leisure, which is our current provider. The current contract is due to expire on the 31st of March, and this paper proposes a contract extension for another 5 years. The Council works in close partnership with OCL to ensure that service delivery is good and outcomes are met, because we do take sport and leisure and tackling health inequalities seriously. I have to say that I think this contract is excellent value for money. It's certainly the best value for money contract in GM, and we have added some positive social value additions to the revised contract that will benefit our veterans, our care leavers and our foster carers. And on that basis, I would ask Cabinet to ratify the contract extension.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Does any other member wish to speak? No? Okay, Cabinet will consider this item at item 21.
So they will consider this item, which is a multi-million pound contract. She makes no reference to how much it is, who else bid, how they came up with the figures, any of that. No one is saying anything. No one is saying anything. And I'm trying to find whilst I'm talking to you, the documents that add some information into this, and I can't find them. It's a contract to Oldham Community Leisure. Remember, if you've got memories long enough, Oldham Community Leisure during the epidemic, during coronavirus lockdown, Oldham Council, for reasons only known to them, I think, paid Oldham Community Leisure £300,000, might have been more, but an obscene amount of money for storage or something, whilst the Queen Elizabeth Hall that they own was sat empty. They gave money or awarded a contract or whatever it was for £300,000. I've got the public report pack. Just give me 1 second, see if I can find anything. Yeah, I can't find anything. The public report pack is full of stuff to do with the theatre, which is last time. Do you feel this is an, I don't know how to phrase this, an open, honest, transparent council, a competent council? Whilst they're claiming poverty, they're carving out millions for their mates. Whilst they're increasing the prices of school meals for children, they're carving out millions for their mates. There's something very wrong with this town.
Item 15, Oldham Community Leisure Utility Benchmarking. Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, thank you. So this report is in relation to the inbuilt energy benchmarking costs, which are contained within the leisure management contract. Obviously, given the extraordinary fluctuations within the utility market at present, Oldham Community Leisure has enacted their contractual right to invoke this clause in order to remain financially viable. The benchmarking exercise is designed to cover the cost of any significant rises that OCL will have to incur, and the financial implications are detailed in Part B of the report. I guess what I would say is that leisure providers are being adversely and disproportionately affected because of the exorbitant costs of having to heat their swimming pools. And leisure centres do have high energy demands. So in order to sustain public and leisure facilities in the borough, there is a requirement for this cost benching procedure to take place. Thanks.
So they're giving more money for the Oldham Community Leisure. Yeah, is that what they're saying?
Wish to speak? No. Okay.
And again, no one wants to speak.
Item 22. Item 16. Green Square Accord to Allied Health Services Limited. Councillor Brownridge.
Thank you, Chair. So this is a request to transfer the contract from Green Square to Allied Health Services. So Green Square provide for about 50 service users currently. They sold their care home business to Allied Healthcare in 2023. Now, there was some need to do due diligence, so that couldn't be approved at the time. That has now been required. Oh, sorry, so it has been acquired. That information has been acquired. CQC have done their due diligence and they are happy to agree the transfer of registration of services to Allied Health Services, and that's what we are asking. And we can confirm that Allied Health Services will be subject to established quality monitoring oversight and a particular focus because they're a new provider to Oldham. So we're asking for that contract to be transferred.
So they're just transferring a contractor. I don't think there's anything really untoward in that bit, but it's really interesting. It's gone to the Cabinet.
Then there's more to be discussed in the closed part of the agenda.
Ah, ha, 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 ha. And there's more to be discussed in the closed part of the agenda. Just as I was giving Barbara Brownridge the benefit of the doubt, she whispers right at the end, and there's more to be discussed in the closed part of the agenda.
Thank you very much, Councillor Brownridge. Does any other member wish to speak? No. Okay, Cabinet will consider this item at item 23. Item 17, exclusion of the press and public.
Nope.
There you have it. The secrecy continues. The secrecy in this town continues. It is absolutely staggering. Absolutely staggering. And you can't say this thing is because they'll just use it to try and sue me. Probably Chohan has bought his care home. Clearly you mean that in jest, Denise. Clearly you mean that in jest. And if Dr. Chohan has bought a care home, I'm sure Dr. Chohan will declare it accordingly. My headphones have packed in, I'm afraid, on this thing I'm using. So I was dangling a wire trying to hear whilst that was played out. So I'm going to have to go and buy some headphones now. That was this week's Cabinet meeting. I think it's clear what is going on there. And whilst you were whilst I was doing this, I had a couple of YouTube notifications. A few more of my videos have been blocked accordingly for defamation complaints. So you can still view them using a VPN, but there won't be any defamation. What they are trying desperately to do is silence all of the information I provide in the lead up to the election. So that is what is taking place. Unfortunately, we have the ability to continue, and you wait until this evening's emergency transmission. I might even put that out on Facebook simultaneously. There will be an emergency transmission this evening, and it is career ending. Oh yes, career ending. If you find value in my work, please, to the 100 of you who've joined me this morning, consider taking out a subscription. If you can't take out a subscription, at least consider buying me a coffee. The link's at the top. It costs you £2. Come on, people. You know I'm value for money, and you know without the scrutiny and oversight that I provide, you would be nowhere, and the opposition in this town would be absolutely nowhere. Nikki, I have no idea what time, because unfortunately I'm running around all over the place at the moment. I'm leaving this now. I'm going and visiting a legal team. Then I've got to be in Manchester. Then I've got to go and do some work for one of the independents. So I have no idea what time. You'll just have to wait. I'm hoping 8ish, 9ish maybe, but that sort of time when I get back in. If you find value, please consider buying me a coffee. Please consider supporting the channel. At the very least, like and share. I noticed that even though so many of you have tuned in, my Facebook share for this morning's transmission is like 1 or 2 of you. If you want to win the election, if you want to get across the line, you need to, at the very least, share the content on Facebook. Because if you don't share the content on Facebook, we're not going to get anywhere, are we? It's not a big ask of any of you. Please please share these transmissions. And if you're looking on Facebook, where we mainly operate, you need to share the content. Because if you don't share the content, the audience is limited. And I'm on shadow ban after shadow ban on there as well. A very, very good morning to all of you. And hopefully I will see you soon. Amanda Chadderton, Jim McMahon, Debbie Abrahams, Keir Starmer, Angela Rayner, Andy Burnham. You might want to watch. I'll see you later.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.